Hello there and a very warm welcome. You're watching Your World Tonight. I'm Molly Gambhir. Two big verdicts from India's Supreme Court today. The Apex Court has banned seeking votes in the name of religion or caste. The Supreme Court also ordered to remove Anurag Thakur from the post of BCCI President for stalling reforms. We break down these developments for you among other stories. But first up, let's now take a start with the Indian politicians' often freewheeling approach to political campaigning, which combines extravagant promises with appeals to religion or caste, is now being curbed. The Supreme Court has banned all appeals in the name of religion or caste, also language and community. A landmark judgment with possible transformative effect on Indian elections. Kartikeya Sharma brings you more in this report.
Communal violence in India during election campaigning could be a thing of the past. A landmark Supreme Court judgment has banned appeals to religion by political parties. The court clearly laying down the elections are a secular exercise and appealing to the religion is a corrupt act.
वोट तो सबके पास एक है और सरकार बनती है देश को आगे ले जाने के लिए, तो जो पॉलिसी और नीति है वो तो सबके लिए बनना चाहिए। तो जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला है मैं उसको बहुत जायज मानता हूँ।
दोनों हाथों से सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट को सलाम करते हैं और ये कड़ाई से लागू होना चाहिए। इस देश की राजनीति को जिन लोगों ने इसमें राजनीति में धर्म का समावेश किया है चुनाव में, उन्होंने भ्रष्ट करने का काम किया है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये जजमेंट जो है संविधान की मर्यादा को रेस्टोर करने का काम है।
The ruling comes ahead of crucial elections in 5 states including Uttar Pradesh and Punjab.
There is a law of the land which says that you can't appeal to voters in the name of your religion or caste or community. You cannot use any religious place for your campaign. And so unfortunately, there was an increasing tendency to violate this law in letter and spirit. I'm sure this judgment will put an end to that tendency.
Figures with the Union Home Ministry has documented on an average 58 communal incidents every month between 2011 and 2015. A staggering 85% of these incidents took place in just 8 states: Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Bihar, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Karnataka. The Supreme Court judgment will have a direct bearing on the elections in Punjab and Uttar Pradesh. Both the states have witnessed the upheaval of religion-induced politics by political parties. But now with the order in place, it seems the coming elections will be less volatile. Kartikeya Sharma for WION.
Now, in a country like India, where we see religion and politics being mixed ever so often, how exactly will this ruling impact the electoral system? Also, we've seen some of those reactions coming in from across the political spectrum. Some, of course, putting forth their reservations as far as the judgment is concerned, but overall supporting it. Now, to what extent will this impact the functioning of the parties with just crucial assembly elections around the corner? How exactly will this shape the electoral system and the politics of the country? Now, we've seen several incidents, of course, communal in nature over the last few years. Just in between 2011 and 2014, we saw as many as 58 communal incidents. Will that change? The Apex Court coming down heavily and saying Hindutva is a way of life and saying that religion and politics cannot be mixed, banning the use of religion, caste, language by politicians in trying to win votes when they're politically campaigning as far as the elections are concerned. Our chief domestic correspondent Kartikeya Sharma now joins us on the broadcast for more on that. Kartikeya, in a country where we see politics and religion being mixed ever so often, how exactly will this ruling, in your view, impact the electoral system of the country?
I think it's going to have a tremendous impact on the politics of this country, but there are two views about it, Molly, because one, the government has said that no one can actually seek vote on the basis of caste, creed and religion, and it is a practice of corruption. But there's a simultaneous judgment which says that Hindutva is not a religion but a way of life. So you might ask for votes on Hindutva, but not on any other religion. So a fine configuration of what it means, religion, has to be deciphered. Whether Hinduism constitutes as religion by the new verdict is yet to be known, because by the previous verdict, Hinduism has been defined as a way of religion and not as a way of life and not as a religion. Secondly, for asking votes on caste and creed is a crippling effect on the regional parties, and I think this will have a far deeper repercussion when it comes to the politics of number of states. But when it comes to the constitutional point of view, I think it's a very welcome step, because our constitution and a sense of republic as defined in the directive principles was very categorical, that we are secular in nature and religion, caste and creed should only be secondary and part of a personal identity and should not be part of a public fora.
Right, Karthik, and as that report just also mentioned, on an average, about 58 communal incidents taking place just between 2011 and 2014. In your view, do you see things changing post this verdict?
I think what will happen is that it will reduce the intensity of the words being used for a particular caste to seek vote. But I would again say that how will it impact the way Hindutva, because the courts have said that Hindutva or Hinduism is a way of life and not religion. So how will that impact? And secondly, I would say that it will also be a sort of a buffer or a sort of a deterrent where people overtly use religion to incite public opinion against the other religious entity. I think it would be some sort of a disincentive, but it depends on the way Election Commission of India will reread or reinterpret the section 1233 of the Representation of People's Act. But nonetheless, it's an enlightened verdict. But again, our law is open to interpretation, and it all boiled down to that, Molly.
All right, leaving it there for the moment, Karthikeya, thank you very much for breaking down for our viewers what that judgment means and to what extent, in your view, this will impact the electoral system in the country. Moving on, but staying with news coming in from the Supreme Court of India, the top brass of the BCCI is out. The Supreme Court today formally sacked two administrators, Anurag Thakur and Ajay Shirke, paving the way for a new interim administration. Well, the Supreme Court has in fact sacked Ajay Shirke and Anurag Thakur from India's cricket body. They have been removed for refusing to accept the Lodha Committee recommendations. In fact, a new interim administration under the senior-most vice president and interim secretary will take over after giving an undertaking that they will accept the Lodha panel report.
The Supreme Court axe finally fell on the necks of the two administrators of India's premier cricket body, the Board of Control for Cricket in India. Anurag Thakur and Ajay Shirke have been removed for refusing to accept the Lodha Committee recommendations.
There were obstructions, there were impediments. We fixed the timelines that was not adhered to. We submitted 3 reports before the Supreme Court. Even then it was not implemented. Obviously this was to happen, and this has happened.
A new interim administration under the senior-most vice president and interim secretary will take over after giving an undertaking that it will accept the Lodha panel report. The recommendations put forth by the Lodha panel include 1 vote for each state in the BCCI elections, no office for ministers or civil servants, no BCCI office bearer to be more than 70 years old, no person can hold office in the BCCI and state simultaneously, fixed limit of 3 3-year terms for officials and no consecutive terms. Thakur tweeted his disappointment.
For me, it was not a personal battle. It was a battle for the autonomy of the sports body. I respect Supreme Court as any citizen should. Supreme Court judges feel that BCCI could do better under retired judges. I wish them all the best. I'm sure Indian cricket will do well under their guidance. My commitment to the best of Indian cricket and autonomy of sports will always remain.
The Supreme Court did not recommend bringing the BCCI under the Right to Information Act, or legalizing betting and some other measures. But there could be moves to push forward the Model Sports Bill to clean up Indian sports. Bureau Report, WION.
My colleague Aisha Sindhu now joins us for more on that. Aisha, as we have been discussing all throughout, this counts as a huge blow to India's cricket body. What's the latest that you're picking up on that front?
Well, Molly, as you pointed out, this is a big blow, and the Supreme Court has taken a very harsh view of what it has called BCCI's Thakur and Shirke's obstructionist policies towards what's going on in terms of the panel recommendations, which went back as far as July 18th last year. So the system has been brought under the scanner by the Supreme Court, and clearly this is being looked at by the Supreme Court in a very harsh way, and has caused the rolling of heads, so to speak.
Absolutely. And what's the way forward now, Aisha, as far as the functioning of the BCCI is concerned? A strong message, of course, being sent to the body.
Absolutely, Molly. In addition to this being a strong message to the body of cricket, it's also going to cause a lot of sports bodies to wake up and really snap out of lethargy, because cricket, as you know, and as most of our viewers will be aware, is one of the most efficient and effectively run sports in the country. It's the wealthiest cricket board across the world. And if a cricket body can also be brought under the Supreme Court's wrath in the way we've seen, it means that other sports bodies are also not free from legal intervention. So a lot can happen in terms of the way cricket functions. Not a lot is going to change. All the England tour, the ODI tours coming up, and the financials are already taken care of as far as that goes. It is going to cause a new administration to come in. In fact, amicus curiae Gopal Subramaniam and Fali S. Nariman have been asked to put in place an interim board till such time a new set of members is not appointed by the Supreme Court to the BCCI. Molly.
All right, let's leave it there for the moment, Aisha. Do keep tracking all those developments. Of course, a huge blow there to India's cricket body, and a lot of strong reactions also coming in from the BCCI. But moving now to southern India, as the world was celebrating New Year, Bengaluru in the state of Karnataka witnessed a horrific incident as women were molested during the celebration at MG Road and Brigade Road in the city. According to eyewitnesses, several distraught women were seen approaching police. Women complained that hooligans had molested them and made lewd remarks during the New Year celebrations on December 31st. Meanwhile, Karnataka's Home Minister has asserted that Bengaluru is a safe city for women and that there are enough cops on the streets to ensure safety for all. He offered no apology for that incident. Women's rights activist Kavita Krishna now joins us for more on that. Kavita, similar incidents taking place in the past as well. It seems lessons have not been learned, but on a larger scale, do you feel that these incidents speak of a larger mindset against women?
Definitely. I think that it speaks very loudly about the situation in our society where women in public space, women accessing public space is seen as some kind of transgression. And, we have had movements in recent times of women asserting the right to access public space. And I hope and pray that that continues, because that is the real answer to this, to tell them we are not going to be intimidated, neither of the social media, neither of the public streets, and this kind of mob molestation is basically a large-scale manifestation of what women experience on a daily basis, on a small scale every day. And it's truly appalling when it happens on such a large scale, because then it acts as a reminder to us that this is something we can't ignore. But on a daily basis, women are told to ignore it and look the other way.
Absolutely. And what's more appalling there, Kavita, is that the state home minister comes out and says that Bengaluru is an absolutely safe city, offers no apology, despite elaborate security arrangements being made on New Year's Eve. We've seen how women were molested, children scared out of their wits, male friends had a tough time protecting them.
That's the whole thing, that the fact that the home minister can say this is a joke, because it means that women's safety does not count as something out of the ordinary. It does not count as a breaking of law and order. In a way, it's the order of things. That's what he's saying. And, the fact that it is not seen as something which is completely unacceptable, that women feel unsafe on the streets. And my thing is, what I would stress here is that this should be a wake-up call, not just about one night. Everybody, all the news reports I've said have seen authorities trying to say, oh, it's a one-off thing. This is not a one-off thing. Ask women in Bangalore city what it is that they experience every day, and then we will start hearing more. Because each one member who made up that mob is someone who, as an isolated individual in his everyday life, what is his conduct towards women? That is something to think about.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that this is something that basically points to a much larger and everyday problem that we need to address and start taking seriously.
And certainly not an isolated incident there, leaving it there for the moment. Kavita, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast. Moving now to Tamil Nadu, staying with southern India. After just 2 days of taking over as the General Secretary of the ruling party AIADMK, there are murmurs in the party urging Sasikala Natarajan to take charge of the government as well. Senior AIADMK leader and Lok Sabha Deputy Speaker Thambidurai has come out strongly in support of Sasikala taking over as the Chief Minister as well. Party men in support of the move argue that in AIADMK, the party chief and the chief minister have always been the same person, and that tradition should continue even now. The current chief minister, O. Paneerselvam, took charge of the government soon after Jayalalitha's death on December 5th. AIADMK MP Thambidurai has strongly urged that Sasikala Natarajan should take over the position of the Chief Minister as well. Remember, O. Paneerselvam has taken over as the Chief Minister shortly after the passing away of former Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha on December 5th. Kunal Shankar, senior journalist with The Frontline, now joins us over the phone line. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. First up, it is, of course, a strong appeal coming in from Thambidurai, AIADMK MP, to immediately take over. He wants Sasikala Natarajan to immediately take over as the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, saying that she has the ability to lead the party and help win the parliamentary elections. Do you agree with that point of view, sir?
Well, this is not the first time that a party member of the ADMK has made this suggestion. In particular, following Jayalalitha's death, there was in fact, Thambidurai in his letter, in his public appeal that you're mentioning, has also mentioned the state's revenue minister, Mr. Uday Kumar, also suggesting that something like that, of this nature. The point over here, important distinction to make over here is that nobody within the party objected to Paneerselvam being made the deputy, or rather the replacement, if you will, whenever Jayalalitha was out of power, which was 3 times in the past, twice because of corruption allegations, and once when she was incapacitated. In all of those times, because Jayalalitha was not just the head of the general secretary of the party, but the head of the government as well. And because by the nature of AIADMK as a party, which has really been led only by a single leader, which is why all these fissures are coming up. And this isn't something that is reflective of the party, it's certainly reflective of the leader who's very much in the public eye, because he is not only a member of the party, but he's a deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha. Whether this will hold traction or not, I'm really doubtful, because Sasikala does not really have any administrative experience. She does not have any experience as not even as a politician, really, in order to be able to wield that kind of influence, to understand how to get work done through bureaucracy. And so I am doubtful that this might hold traction, but what it is very clearly indicating is that the party is in a sort of a disarray, and it wants to find a leader who has the kind of foothold that Jayalalitha did, which they're unable to at the moment.
Absolutely. And to what extent will this sentiment be shared by others within the party? Of course, there have been, remember, other claimants there as well for that position. Leaving it there for the moment, Kunal Shankar, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast. We will keep a close eye on those developments, but moving up north now to the state of India's Uttar Pradesh, where a family rift is brewing in the ruling Samajwadi Party. Meanwhile, party chief and Akhilesh's father, Mulayam Singh, called off a party convention which was to be held on the 5th of January. Meanwhile, Mulayam Singh met his close aide Amar Singh in New Delhi today, who has been blamed by the Akhilesh camp for that rift in the party. Yesterday, in a show of strength, Akhilesh supporters met at a massive rally in Lucknow and elected him as the new national president of the party, while relegating Mulayam Singh to the nominal post of party mentor. An angry Mulayam called the meeting unconstitutional and dismissed the decisions passed there as illegal. Remember, the state of Uttar Pradesh is headed for polls this year, and the split between the father and son may prove fatal for the Samajwadi Party. Both factions reaching out to the Election Commission of India in Delhi as well to stake claim of the party's election symbol, which is the cycle.
मीडिया ने हमेशा मेरा साथ दिया जी, क्योंकि हमने झूठ बोले, न धोखा दिया, न भ्रष्टाचार किया जी। कोई आरोप नहीं लगा सकता है, लगाया तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट मेरे ईमानदार घोषित कर दिया चलो तो बस बता।
Our correspondent Raghavendra Rao has been closely monitoring the developments all through the day. Raghavendra, first up, bring us up to speed with the kind of demands, with the kind of sentiment conveyed by Mulayam Singh Yadav to the top brass of the Election Commission of India when he met them today.
Molly, Mulayam Singh today, flanked by his long-time confidant and aide Amar Singh, also with Jayaprada and Shivpal Yadav in tow, held a 40-minute-long meeting with the full election commission. A full election commission, remember, comprises of the chief election commissioner and both the election commissioners. In the meeting, Mulayam Singh Yadav essentially underlined the point that the symbol bicycle belonged to him and what the party he's leading, and it should not be granted to any other so-called faction or any other rebel group. This was the point which was repeatedly underlined by Mulayam Singh Yadav to the Election Commission. Also, Mulayam told the Election Commission authorities that the National Convention held by Akhilesh Yadav yesterday is unconstitutional, and when the Election Commission adjudicates on the matter, it should not take into account the developments of that so-called unconstitutional National Convention.
Right, Raghavendra, have there been earlier precedents where an election symbol of a party has landed up in so much controversy because of the internal feud within the party?
Molly, it has happened a few times in the past. The most recent example was in 2011 when a party called the Uttarakhand Kranti Dal split up, and both the factions laid stake to the symbol chair. Realizing that it had very little time to adjudicate on the matter and decide on it, so the Election Commission decided to freeze that symbol and instead chose to grant separate symbols to both the factions. So while one of the factions got kite as a symbol, the other faction was given a cup and a saucer as an election symbol. Also in 1999, when the Janata Dal split up, the two factions staked their claim to the symbol wheel. Then also the Election Commission decided to freeze that symbol, and instead chose to give separate symbols to both the factions. One of them got the arrow as a symbol and the other got a farmer riding a tractor as the election symbol.
Right, of course, and this internal party feud within the Samajwadi Party, of course, will be getting murkier in the coming days as well. Each faction, of course, holding their fort. Leaving there for the moment, Raghavendra, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with the latest coming in from the internal feud within the Samajwadi Party. On that note, it's a wrap on Your World tonight. Keep tracking the very latest on the other side of a very short break. News and updates continue.